I'm Luke Collett, author of Finding Zoe Through Her Art, a son's journey to get to know his late mother through the art she left behind. Vanessa and I had a beautiful, carefree, amazing relationship at a time of life where neither of us had too many responsibilities. We had money in the bank. We had both just graduated from college and got really good jobs. And a long time into that relationship, I was in the back of her car and we were driving to work, and I found a book hidden under the seat that had a title something along the lines of Living with Lupus. Now, Zoe officially died of pneumonia as a complication from lupus. And lupus is an autoimmune disease that inflames the body, and as a result, you deal with a lot of fatigue and joint pain, rashes and fevers. And as I think back, growing up with my mom was hard for me. I often tell people that I raised myself a lot of the time because it was difficult for my mom. She slept a lot. She would be in a room to just rest, and she had to be in the darkness. They had a lot of photosensitivity if you have lupus, and she couldn't really go to my soccer games on the weekends, and she'd have to go to the doctors a lot because each sort of ailment she would have, she'd go see a different doctor, and each of these doctors would give her different pills, and above her bed she had hundreds of pill bottles that it just was scary to look at, really. So when I found out Vanessa had lupus, it was really hard for me, and ultimately I decided I couldn't be with somebody. I couldn't willingly choose a life with somebody that would lead me down the route that I had experienced with my mom, that the life that in a way I had run away from, moving out of the house and going to college and living my own life. So, in Austria, on a trip we had planned for a long time, on the first day, of course, to make it even worse, I broke up with Vanessa and told her I can't be with you because you have lupus. And I knew that was a stupid, hard thing to say, but that's how it came out. A lot of people can relate to butterflies, but I think Vanessa loved them more than most people I knew. A side effect of lupus is you get rashes around your eyes, and they can end up looking a little like butterfly wings. I can remember my mom desperately trying to hide them sometimes before we have to go somewhere. My mom didn't really like to wear makeup, so it always makes me think that it must have really pained her to have to put on this thing to hide this disease that she's been living with and she was reminded of every day. This butterfly is the latest of at least 3 versions of the butterfly that I know about, and each more intricate than the last. And the detail in this one is absolutely amazing. If there was ever a product that my mom thought that would make her famous, I believe it to be this butterfly, as she came back to it over and over again, and it got better and better. It also makes me think of what an experience to draw this thing that every time she looked in the mirror, she would quite literally see a butterfly, and these butterflies she drew with the amazing beauty and life behind it, inside the butterfly. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I gave this butterfly, this version of the butterfly, the original, to Vanessa as atonement for the way I treated her, the relationship, the way I ended it, and I thought it could at least make things better. At the time, I didn't really know. I wasn't trying to understand the art or my mom. I just knew I had this beautiful picture that would make, hopefully, Vanessa feel better. Years later, she found out what I was doing with the book and the art, and reached out to me and said, "I want to give it back to you." And it it came at the time of life where I started to really deal with the trauma of the life the trauma of the life I'd lived with my mom. And I realized that when I broke up with Vanessa, at that time, I thought my life with her would lead to the life I had known with my mom. But my mom, on top of her lupus, had depression, suffered from alcoholism, probably drugs earlier in life, which I know for sure had happened from a few stories I've heard. And she had a lot of other things that the lupus was just conflating. And it was not fair of me to push that version of lupus onto Vanessa. When growing up, I have a lot of visuals that my mom gave me. Things like seeing slit wrists with blood dripping down her arms as my dad's freaking out and we're waiting for the ambulance to come, and my mom being put in a gurney and put in the back of an ambulance and her head flopping over and looking at me through hazy eyes, no doubt created from taking too many pills. And I know now that that is not fair for me to put those images onto a relationship I had with Vanessa in the future that hadn't even happened yet. So I wrote this chapter really as an apology to Vanessa for never being able to say the words that I'm saying now to her, and also thank you to Vanessa for instigating the work that I've done with myself and how it relates to my mom and life and everything else. So thank you. And that is the behind the scenes of the Vanessa chapter. Thank you for supporting this journey, and please support the Kickstarter. Thanks.